we're past the 4th of July. However, I always like to talk about freedom. Freedom is one of my favorite subjects. And actually, on the very first business card I ever had back in maybe 95, it had the words, "Discover Freedom." And I believe that discovering freedom goes two ways: to discover freedom from things that we don't want to have, and the freedom to live more joyfully. Freedom from pain, freedom from suffering, freedom from war, freedom from conflict, and the freedom to be in harmony, freedom to connect, freedom to love and be free. So that is my why I love freedom so much. Now, I know you're going to be really disappointed, but I'm not going to give you a history lesson on the 4th of July today. I know. I know, you look forward to those history lessons. However, I'm not going to give you that history lesson today because I think most of you know the origins of the 4th of July, and there's always Google that can tell you more if you really want to know. I want to instead focus on today and the freedom and what true freedom is, especially in the midst of our interesting country, politics, and all the things that are happening. So, how does that sound? Is that good for you? Yeah. All right. So, I'm going to begin with a definition of freedom, because it's got to start somewhere. So, freedom is the power to act, speak, or think as one wants, without hindrance or restraint, without being controlled or limited. The next definition I thought was interesting: the quality or state of being without thought or restraint. I was like, without thought. That's an interesting one. How about you? Would you be free if you didn't have thoughts? You might be a bit more free. I'm not having any thoughts. That's why we meditate. I'm like, just be chill. So the quality or state of being without thought or restraint, bondage, limitation, or repression, and a sense of well-being, complete well-being. And the third one is the condition of not being in prison or captivity, and the condition of being free from restraints. Now, what's interesting to me is you can't know freedom without knowing its opposite. So things like bondage, limitation, restraints, captivity, confinement, servitude, slavery. If you didn't have those, you wouldn't have a concept of what freedom is because you'd just be free. You have to have that opposite, right? To understand that bondage and limitation and captivity is one thing and the opposite is freedom. But you can't know freedom without that. So freedom is such an important concept in our world and in many connotations, and mostly it's political and religious freedoms, freedom from discrimination. However, there is yet an even more profound freedom, and that is the freedom to think, to be free from mental and emotional conditions and conditioning, and fully be able to express the person that you came here to be. Okay? I'm going to say it again. It is the freedom to think and be free from the mental and emotional conditioning and be free to be who you came here to be. Now, how many of you know how it is that a 5,000-pound kilo elephant does not run away from the circus? How many of you know that? Yeah, some of you do. And I have shared this before, but I'm going to share it again because I think it is such a beautiful metaphor and analogy for us. So how a huge elephant who's just strapped on a little rope and a little wooden peg doesn't take off. Well, it starts with being a baby elephant. And that baby elephant gets a chain around its leg and then is connected to a chain with a 3-foot iron stake in the ground. This little baby elephant goes along and can't go any further. And then it goes and it can't go any further. And it keeps trying to move about, but is restricted by this chain, which causes pain in its leg. It's getting frustrated and realizes it cannot move past its perimeters of this chain. So it gives up trying. 10 years later, this 100-kilo elephant is now 5,000 kilos. And it can rip a tree out of the ground. And yet, it has a little wooden peg and a rope holding it. And what holds it is its belief. It has a belief that it got conditioned, it could only go so far. So even though this is one of the most powerful animals and has the strength and ability to move a tree out of the ground or pull a train car, that thing, and yet it's confined. It's confined by what is in its mind, what it can do. And are we not somewhat like the elephant? Yeah. And the question is, what is your little wooden peg? What is the belief that is holding you captive? We all have beliefs that we get growing up, and we're also bombarded by the news. Hello. Bombarded by the news, advertisements, social media, friends, cultures, families, and we develop beliefs because we are being conditioned. Don Miguel Ruiz says we're domesticated or conditioned. Babies don't have any beliefs when they come into the world. Little children don't have any beliefs, but they absorb the beliefs of, and how do you know what is true, what is false, what is real, what is not? We are very vulnerable in our accepting things that may not be true. And the problem is, Jesus said, it is done unto us as we believe. What is a belief? A belief is a thought I hold to be true, and that thought may not even be true. So we're in trouble. We all have pegs, right? We all have something, some fear, some doubt. Anybody got fear or doubt? Especially in the state of the way the politics is going, the Supreme Court, our presidential candidates. I'll be first to admit, it's concerning me. I have some concerns. I have had some worry. I've had a fluctuation of a lot of different feelings. I did watch the debate. I was with my Aunt Sue, who definitely differs from me in our ideas and ideology, and I decided I wasn't going to say anything because they were all very much set in how they were believing things. And some of it was actually kind of discriminatory towards me being gay. And so I just was like, isn't that interesting? And I've not ever been really in that environment. And the next morning I was like, I got to go see a friend, is what I said. And that friend might just be a tree. Right? I was like, time to go. And so the thing is we want to break free. I want to break free. And I did a lot of contemplation about where is spirit? Where is God in the middle of the wars? Where is God in the middle of the Supreme Court? Where is God in the middle of the decisions and the news? Where is God? Where is the divine? We teach that the divine spirit is everywhere present. Isn't that very, very good? So I was like, I don't get it. And then I was asking Spirit, what is it Spirit wants me to say today? What does Spirit want to convey? And I know there was something. We are constantly bombarded. And I want to go back to this statement that I already said, but I'm adding to yet there is a more profound freedom we're talking about. This is the freedom to think and to be free from mental and emotional conditioning, to be free from the pegs and the beliefs and the doubts and the worries, and to have full trust that things are going to work out. Anybody like to have that? because we're human. We get caught up. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of the news. And I'm doing my best. I am reading, I am listening, and I am paying attention. But at the same time, I don't want to get emotionally caught up. This freedom to think, to be free from the mental and emotional conditioning and fully express the person you came here to be. These kinds of freedom are the province of the mind, not the purview of the state or church. These kinds of freedom are the province of the mind and not the state or the church. Now, the greatest example I know of this true freedom is Viktor Frankl, who spent 3 years in a concentration camp, had everything taken from him. He's written the book, Man's Search for Meaning, and a couple of his quotes. Viktor Frankl says, "We who lived in concentration camps can remember the men who walked through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man or a woman but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." I can't even imagine how that man was able to, but he did have some training, but he made decisions of what he could do when there seemed hopeless. Another quote, "Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except one thing, your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation." Situations are going to happen. I can't control the outer world. What do I have control over? My reactions. My reactions are going to come from what I believe and what I think, because our thoughts are actually where our reactions come from, our feelings. Our thoughts create our feelings, create our actions, create results. So we have a power of freedom, and the question is, how much are we engaging in that freedom of our minds? So, how many of you would like to know how you can have true freedom in the midst of the craziness that is occurring today in our country and will probably continue for some time? How many of you? Okay, I think everybody does. Well, you know me, these 4 steps to freedom are going to be what? An acronym? You better believe it. Why? Because I want us to remember. Now, does everybody receive a piece of, whatever this is, cardboard? If you don't have one or you need a pen or anything, raise your hand because they will hand them out. Okay, they're going to come around. Because I want you to write something today, because I want you to take something home. Janine up in the production booth also needs this. And we have a person over here. Thank you very much. And we have Johnny over here, over there. And we have Johnny. Okay, Jen's coming. So the word, your acronym, is FREE, F-R-E-E. You don't have to write anything down yet, okay? Just chill. Now, you're all ready to go. That's a good class. Yes, well trained. I will give you instruction as to when it's time to write. So your F is going to be focus on the worry. No, don't write it down yet. Don't write it down. Okay, you're just listening right now. I'll let you know. So it's called focus on the thing that you're afraid of. Focus on the problem. Focus on the thing that is bothering you. Now, this may sound very counterintuitive because we teach a new thought. Whatever you focus on, you get more of. So why would I ask you to focus on the thing you don't want? You want to know? It's called, because we're not doing a spiritual bypass. We have to start with where you are. If you have a fear, you have a doubt, you have a worry, you have a belief that things are just crazy and are not going to get better, you believe whatever you're believing, whatever that is, I want you to focus on it, because you have to start where you are in order to change things, to transform. You got to start with the caterpillar, right, in order to be the butterfly. So now I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Okay, just close your eyes. Take a breath. What is it, the one thing that I'm most worried or afraid of? What is the one thing, the peg, the limitation that I would like to be free from? Notice what that is, and now feel the feeling that goes with it. What do you feel? If this was to continue to be the case, the thing you're worried about, afraid of, it happens, it's going to happen. What do you feel? Identify that feeling. Now, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes and write down on your little card what it is that you're afraid of, your peg, your belief, your limitation, the thing you want to be free of. Write it down. One sentence is good. And what the feeling is that goes with it. So the F stands for focus on the issue, the problem, and the feeling, because you want to identify the feeling. As soon as you're done, you can look up at me so I know that you're pretty complete with writing your issue that you'd like to have different. All right, you got your F, focus and the feeling. Now we're going to the R. That calls release and replace. So I want you to close your eyes. Take a breath. What would you like to have instead? What belief would you like to have? What would you like the outcome to be instead of what you wrote down? What would you love to have be? I want you to feel the feeling as if your greatest dream, vision, that you would rather have this than anything, and it's now true. How do you feel? Identify that feeling. Because what you thought was going to happen didn't, and this is happening instead. And once you have that, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes and cross off. This is called release. Cross off whatever you wrote down. Just scratch it out and replace it. Now write down, what are you having instead? What is your ideal happening and the feeling that goes with it? When you're done writing that down, just look up, smile, because you've just changed the picture. Good. Now, the E. We're going to engage in a new thought, and we're embracing, engaging in this vision, first of all, engaging in the vision, and doing this throughout the day. If you just do this today and then you never do it again, I don't know if it's going to take. It's called repetition. In the morning and at night, take a moment to go, what am I having instead? What if all those fears, doubts, and worries aren't going to happen? What if it turns out that there's miracles happening? Oh my God, and I want you to feel that feeling. So I want you to engage in that. Now, if you get a fear, doubt, or worry that is going to pop up and go, because it'll pop up. It's going to be. You get the pop-ups, like, they're going to revisit you. The old mind is going to come back. And I want you to say, Spirit is bigger than my fear, doubt, or worry. Spirit, and you can write this down, Spirit is bigger than my fear, doubt, worry. And you can add any person, place, or situation. Is God bigger than? Do you believe that? You may believe it somewhat, but 100%? I need to engage and create a new mind about what is happening. I can get caught up in the news and go a little bit nuts, or I can keep centered. Spirit is bigger than this situation. Spirit is bigger. I am trusting the divine is bigger. You might have to work on that because you might not believe it 100%, but work it. So you're engaging in the vision, and then you're going into the Spirit is bigger. I'm just reminding myself of that truth. And your final E is you're going to energize and expand your energy. You're going to energize and expand your attention on what you're focusing on. I'd like you to focus on the good that's happening in your life. Every day, write down, you might have a thank you list. I want you to write 5 things every day that are good. I can focus on the craziness and the things that I'm afraid of, but I want us to focus on the beauty of this altar. I mean, you can find 5 things every day and make them different. 5, you can make more than 5. But every day, make this a spiritual practice. What is good? Expand and energize. Expand your vision to the good that's happening. Okay? This is our power. This is where our freedom lies. So focusing and feeling the problem. And then we're releasing it and replacing it. We're engaging in the vision of the good, of what could be, not the fear. And also, we're doing the expansion and energizing the good. Remember that everything is consciousness, everything. Ernest Holmes, who knows who Ernest Holmes is? A lot of you do. Ernest Holmes was the founder of what is called religious science or science of mind. He writes in The Science of Mind about prayer, because you also want to engage in prayer. Prayer is not willing things to happen. It is to provide within ourselves an avenue through which they may happen. Prayer opens up avenues of thought, expands the consciousness, and lets reality through, removing doubt and fear in the realization of our higher power. And it is necessary when we are confronted with obstacles. We already live in a perfect universe, but it needs to be seen mentally before it can be part of our experience. Our perspective is everything. Every problem is primarily mental, and all the answers to the problems will be found in spiritual realization. I have also, for you, and those that are in the cyber sanctuary, I can send this to you, or you can look it up online. It is a prayer for my country by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Okay? This I have printed out, and I can print out more. I'm going to read just part of it, and I'm going to ask you to change one word, and I'll tell you why. He starts off with, believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression, I offer this, my prayer for our country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States, directing the thought and activity of all who guide its affairs. Okay, and he goes through and he has a whole number of I know. Spirit told me I'm not going to use the word I know. It's not strong enough. I declare, okay? Which is stronger? I know that success, prosperity, or I declare that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom. I declare the divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I declare. I want you to pick one of these up, and I want you to say it every day, and I want you to put the word I declare. Okay? Let's solidify it. I know is here. I declare is putting our stake in the ground of what we're standing for. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on in every single person. He said, "My son, the battle is between two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, and greed. It is arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other wolf is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, security, serenity. It is humility, benevolence, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about this for a minute, and then he asked, "Which wolf wins?" And the grandfather simply replied, "The one you feed. The one you feed. You have choice. Are you going to feed the love? It's all here. We have that choice." In closing, I got a lot of Ernest Holmes here today, but I love this piece. Closing, he says, "To daily meditate on the perfect life and to daily embody the great ideal is a royal road to freedom, to that peace that passes all understanding and is happiness to the soul. Let us learn to see as God must, with a perfect vision. Let us seek the good and the true and believe in them with our whole heart. We cannot afford to believe in imperfection for a single second. To do so is to doubt God. It is to believe that there is a power apart from God, to believe in another creator. Let us daily say to ourselves," and I'm going to ask that you repeat after me, "Perfect God within me. Perfect life within me, which is the divine. Come forth into expression through me as that which I am. Lead me ever into the paths of peace and cause me to see only the good." This is your practice. We can make a difference. Trust me, we can make the difference. Have faith. Know your freedom. Use the power of your mind to create your own peace and watch it ripple out. We shall be free. We shall be free. And so it is.